My great-great-grandfather, uh, William Caren, he was uh, Thomas Caren. He was one of the first 5 families to settle here. And according to, I read this in one of the books, my grandfather took off his coat and threw it on the ground and says, if I'm going to starve to death, I moved to starve to death here. I stand outside one day and looking up and down Main Street, there was not one car coming or going or parked. And I thought, what the hell have I done? In fact, I have that bar that was inside that pool hall in my home right now.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
I hauled it out and took it up home and kind of refurbished it and made kind of a bar for a kind of a...
Yeah.
And then when nobody was looking, he'd give me a little drink of beer.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I found out I like beer. In fact, there's a tamper they use in road construction. I call it the sheep's foot tamper.
Uh-huh.
Because all those hundreds of thousands of sheep walking would just kind of level the ruts out.
So it's actually helpful for the road.
Yeah, they done it on purpose. I don't need you, I need your priesthood. There's a new bag in town, and the town really rallied around us. They had some banquets and fundraisers and this type of stuff that to help us,
Get back on your feet.
get back on our feet and really help us. That I think the banquet they had raised $10,000. One of our Kent Shepherd was in the market in Colders Market one night and said, "Why don't you run for mayor?" I've often said, there's one prerequisite to being mayor.
What's that?
You have to have a low IQ. You can't be very smart. We basically have the same transportation system now as we did. It's the same pioneer transportation system. All they've done is put hardtop over the ruts, and we don't run the sheep or through town to level it out anymore.
Sure.
I dropped the ball.
Sure.
And everybody since me has dropped the ball
Sure.
by not addressing that problem.
By getting those things fixed.
Like I mentioned, my grandfather ran the pool hall.
Yeah.
And then my mom and dad, they ran a beer joint in American Fork called the Curve Inn. We do have a tendency sometimes to judge people by where they are instead of who they are. Well, it wasn't quite that honorable.
Not that.
It was the first girls' choice dance,
Uh-huh.
and forever. And we thought we should have beat them. We was
Sure.
on.
Yeah,
We
76.
was on a 1 foot line.
Oh, wow.
And we couldn't get it across before time went out. All the good ones was taken. So she ended up with me. One day I'm laying there in bed Sunday morning, and she was kind of getting after her 2 boys, getting ready. And you tend to start believing what you start associating with. And I was working for a kind of a dead-end job, a little manufacturing company called Vacuum Manufacturing, and my job was to take, when you go to the dentist, they would and suck all the stuff out of your mouth.
Sure.
Those machines, I was putting new motors in. They'd get all plugged up. And
Yep.
why don't you just take this job and shove it where the daylight doesn't shine? Went into business, started doing basically labor
Mm-hmm.
on fork carriers, and one thing led to another, and entrepreneur this and entrepreneur that, until pretty soon we got one we can do. Basically, my mom, she says, I'll help you. She says, I'll work with you. I'll take care of the inside of the store for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I'm going to quit.
Okay.
Nah, 16 years, I think she was
Oh,
still
wow.
taking care of the inside of
Okay.
the
So
store.
she was there for a while.
Yeah, we worked the crap out of her. Lehi was it was a hard place to be in business.
Sure.
It wasn't like it is now.
Sure.
And in fact, they probably do as much business now, construction now in a week than they used to do in 10 years. There's really no old floor mechanics.
Sure.
Their knees wear out, their hips go out.
Yeah.
Your body.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of afraid of the word politician because it's got a bad name.
Sure, it does, yeah.
And we've given it a bad name
Sure.
by putting up with bad behavior. You get elected and you got all this swarm of people
Sure.
that come.
Yeah.
But make an enemy politically, you never lose them. And right behind my house,
Yeah.
there's a $19 million family park.
Mm.
And it's just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, little kids don't need $19 million playground. What was the turning point for me was we had during the winter time, we had quite an active youth basketball league. There was a guy by the name of Mike Hansen,
Mm-hmm.
who had worked his tail off for years and years and years, serving the young people in town with their sporting programs. It was basically the Legacy Center.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, wow, this might be something. So we did that. And that's how the the Legacy Center came to be born. Well, my name hangs on the wall in there, and we put a bust of Mike Hansen.
Mm-hmm.
They keep moving it around. Sometimes they put it in the corner, sometimes they put it out in the closet, sometimes
Sure.
they put it up front, you know. We want to make this dream come true by providing a central point of interest and opportunity for the youth of our city. Well, Greenwood says, you just saved your city a lot of money today. And we got a very, very favorable rating on our bonds.
It's great.
And so it saved the citizens, I think, a lot of money. If we're really close, we'll take the damn air out of the tire. We'll get it down. I thought, Dan, I hired you. You dumbass. I hired you. I guess that's one of my pet peeves about people and rules.
Sure.
Rules become more important than the reason why they have the rule.
And a lot of times the people that did those first rules, it was just a random, there wasn't a lot of thought put into it.
You can do things if you work together. She started crying and bawling and stuff, and I said, well, I says, I'm sorry. I said, but I know you did it. And I said, you can cry all you want. I said, I want you to know I forgive you. And I had just got through talking to the Sunderland guy. He was going to run for mayor. He was on the council.
Mm-hmm.
He called me and says, if I was going to run, I said, well, if you're going to run for mayor, I'll just run for council.
Sure.
No big deal.
Sure.
I had no more than hung up the phone, and Francis called and forbid me to run for mayor.
Oh, wow.
So I hung up the phone. I started reading it to my wife. And I says, I guess I have to run for mayor now.
Because he told me not to.
It was Mark Twain, I think it was. He says that we're all ignorant just about different things.
Sure.
We're only ignorant until we know it, and then we're not ignorant anymore about that thing. The guy from Costco ran around in front of me and got down on front, bowed down like he worshipped him in a Buddha, and he says, you must be God. Only God could have got that approved. Trying to move fences to try to get, because it was a dangerous situation with school buses parking there, kids darting out, and traffic going by. I think if you yell loud enough, long enough, you can get anything you want. He walked up to me and he started poking me in the chest. I told him, I says, don't poke me in the chest one more time. Here we are now with a high school they sell 800 permits and they got 500 parking spots. I kept me a drawer full of cash. If I was short, I added money.
Just added.
If I was long, I took some out and put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
I've learned a little bit, when you're in a position of authority, you really need to treat people as people, not as pieces on the chess. We've got 5 kids who are so far, none of them in jail. I mean,
Sure.
I don't think they beat up on their kids or their wives.
Oh, wow.
We had to pay one or the other and wait for float to come in before we could pay the rest of it. I mean, we were that close financial. We were losing so much electricity in our line loss, it was incredible. The first 4 years I was mayor, the whole thing, we called it a cutover. We were replacing lines and getting putting a couple of new substations and putting them all on so you could wheel power from one to the other. Nearly 90% of the fires in the whole United States are taught by volunteer firemen. This is a visible thing that I think is wrong.
Sure.
And it's so I'm going to vote for those who are not incumbent. I want to change it. I want a change of attitude.
Remember, every person here has a unique story, and together, we're what makes Lehi feel like home.